The blade stopped 3 millimeters from the princess's throat. Commander Thane held perfectly still, his ceremonial sword frozen in mid-strike, muscles locked in combat stance. Across the sparring circle, Princess Vera of the Cosmic Throne stood with her energy staff raised, her silver eyes wide with exhilaration rather than fear. The training hall fell silent. Every royal guard along the perimeter watched, hands hovering near weapons they would never draw. "Again," Vera said, lowering her staff. "You pulled that strike." Thane withdrew the blade and stepped back into neutral position. "Your Radiance requested combat training, not an execution. I requested real combat." The princess circled left, her formal robes replaced by training armor that shimmered with protective fields. "You fight like you're performing a ceremony. Where's the legendary warrior who held the breach of Kathos against 7,000 void crawlers?" They knew that story. Everyone in the Empire knew that story. 3 years ago, Thane had been a frontier commander stationed at humanity's furthest colony when the void crawlers erupted from subspace. The garrison numbered 400. He'd held the breach for 14 hours while civilians evacuated, wielding nothing but standard-issue weapons and tactical brilliance the military academies now studied. When reinforcements arrived, they found Thane standing alone in a mountain of alien corpses, still giving orders to soldiers who existed only in his trauma-fogged mind. The Empress had personally recruited him as her daughter's chief protector. "That warrior died at Kathos," Thane said quietly. "I serve the throne now." Vera's staff hummed as she activated it. "Then serve me by fighting properly." "I'm competing in the Convergence Games next month. I'll face warriors from 40 species who won't hesitate because of my title. The Convergence Games are ceremonial exhibitions. They're blood sport with ceremonial paperwork." Vera launched forward, staff spinning in a complex attack pattern that would have impressed most combat instructors. Thane deflected each strike with minimal movement, reading her footwork, letting her spend energy while he conserved. She was good, better than he'd expected when this assignment began. But she fought with the passion of someone who'd studied combat, not survived it. The difference mattered. Thane caught her staff on his blade's crossguard and twisted, using her momentum to spin her off balance. She stumbled and his sword appeared at her throat again, this time from behind. "Dead," he said. "Passion makes you predictable." Vera wrenched free, breathing hard. "And caution makes you boring." "Do you know why I challenged you specifically, Commander?" "Your Radiance enjoys difficult puzzles. I enjoy authentic experiences." She deactivated her staff and faced him directly. "Everyone at court treats me like decorative crystal. Too precious to touch, too fragile to challenge." Then I read the Kathos report. The unclassified version mentioned your tactics. The classified version, which I accessed with Mother's codes, described something else. A human who fought with such focused intensity that alien species evolved to fear darkness now hesitate at our borders. The report exaggerated. Did it? Vera stepped closer, her voice dropping. "What happened in those final hours, Commander, when the ammunition ran out and the crawlers kept coming?" Thane's expression remained neutral, but his left hand touched an involuntary response to memories that never fully slept. The other guards noticed. They always noticed. "I followed protocol," he said. "Improvised when necessary." "Survived. You became a legend." Vera studied him like he was a tactical problem to solve. "And now you serve as my ceremonial shadow, fighting at half speed, treating me like I'm made of glass. I want the real Commander Thane, the one who turns impossible situations into victories. That version of me isn't suitable for palace duty, Your Radiance?" "Good." Vera activated her staff again. "Because palace duty is making me soft, and the Convergence Games won't be fought in a palace. They'll be fought in the Arena of Trials on Zenthar Station, where 17 species will send their finest warriors, including the Kethran Hive." The Kethrans were arthropod warriors who'd conquered 60 systems through pure martial superiority. Their queen, Sherix, ruled through personal combat prowess. She'd killed 3 challengers this year alone, all from species that considered themselves warrior races. "The Empress would never approve your participation against Kethran competitors," Thane said. "Mother already approved it," reluctantly. Vera smiled, but the expression held no humor. "The Convergence Games are sacred tradition. Refusing would suggest fear. Humanity is the newest member of the Galactic Council. We can't show weakness." "Then send military champions." "I am a military champion. 4th degree combat certification, top marks in tactical simulation, qualified in 17 weapon systems." Vera's voice hardened. "I'm also the Empire's face at the Games. which means I need to be ready when I step into that arena. Really ready. The kind of ready you created at Kathos when everything seemed lost. Well... Thane considered her carefully. She stood straight despite the exhaustion from their sparring, chin raised, eyes clear. This wasn't royal whim. She understood the stakes. If I train you properly, he said slowly, you won't enjoy it. I'm not seeking enjoyment, Commander. I'm seeking victory. You'll train 6 hours daily. No servants, no special treatment. When you fail, and you will fail repeatedly, I won't soften the lesson. The guards will watch you struggle and won't intervene. Agreed. Your diplomatic schedule will suffer. Your sleep will suffer. Your body will hurt in ways palace life never prepared you for. Agreed. Thane studied her for 3 long seconds. Then he shifted his stance, blade moving into an attack position that hadn't existed moments before. The ceremonial guard disappeared. Something older and harder took its place. Then we start now, he said, and we start with the truth. You're not ready for the convergence games. You're not ready for real combat. You're barely ready for advanced training, but you have one advantage most warriors lack. What's that? You're smart enough to know you're not ready. Thane's blade blurred forward in a strike that made their previous exchanges look like children playing. Vera barely got her staff up in time, the impact sending shockwaves through her arms. Real combat doesn't wait for you to be prepared. It tests what you are in the moment you're tested. So let's discover what you actually are, your radiance. He attacked again, faster this time, and Vera realized with sudden, thrilling terror that she just unleashed something her title couldn't protect her from. The legendary warrior of Kathos had finally appeared, and he was done holding back. The training hall erupted into motion as Thane pressed his assault, each strike precise and unforgiving, teaching lessons with every blow. Vera defended desperately, her earlier confidence evaporating as she confronted the vast difference between studying war and surviving it. Sweat poured down her face. Her arms shook. Her protective fields flickered under impacts they weren't designed to absorb. But she didn't ask him to stop. That, Thane thought as he drove her back across the circle, might actually mean something. The impact of steel on energy shields echoed through the hall like thunder, and the real training began. 3 weeks later, Princess Vera collapsed on the training hall floor, gasping for air that wouldn't come fast enough. Her protective fields had failed an hour ago. Bruises covered her arms. Blood leaked from a split lip she'd earned when Thane's practice blade caught her turning too slowly. Up, Thane said, standing over her without apparent fatigue despite matching her every movement for 6 straight hours. Can't. Then you die here. He activated his blade stun setting and pointed it at her chest. The Kethron warriors won't pause for your exhaustion. Queen Sherrick certainly won't. She's killed competitors for less than showing weakness. Vera rolled sideways as the stun bolt scorched the floor where her heart had been. Her body screamed protest, but she forced herself up, staff igniting in her shaking hands. You're enjoying this. I'm ensuring you survive. Thani attacked again, a 4-strike combination that Vera had learned to recognize in week 1. She deflected the first 3 strikes but missed the 4th, taking another stun bolt to her shoulder. She went down hard. This time she stayed down. Thane deactivated his blade. Session complete. Medical check in 30 minutes. Why? Vera asked, staring at the ceiling. Why do you push harder than any instructor I've ever had? Because your previous instructors needed you alive and happy. I need you alive and capable. The distinction matters. Thani extended his hand. After a moment, Vera took it, letting him pull her up. You've improved. Your reaction time is faster. Your tactics showed genuine adaptation. But you still fight like someone who's learned combat from manuals and simulations. You understand violence intellectually. You haven't internalized it. Thane began cleaning his practice blade, the ritual giving his words space to breathe. At Kathos, I watched good soldiers die because they hesitated, not from cowardice, from cognitive dissonance. Their training said combat worked one way, reality said different. By the time they adjusted, the crawlers had already killed them. How did you adjust? I stopped thinking and started responding. Stopped planning 3 moves ahead and started reacting to what existed in each moment. Thane's eyes focused on something distant, something that lived in memory rather than the present training hall. When the ammunition ran out, I used crawler corpses as barricades. When the barricades failed, I used my combat knife. When the knife broke, I used pieces of broken equipment. When that ran out, I used my hands. Vera sat down on a training bench, listening carefully. The reports said you killed 43 crawlers in hand-to-hand combat during the final hour. Some kills weren't confirmed because the bodies burned in the fires. Thane set his blade aside, but those numbers don't matter. What matters is the moment you accept that survival requires becoming something you weren't before you stepped into combat. Something harder. Something that doesn't flinch. You make it sound like losing yourself. It's finding a version of yourself you didn't know existed. Thane finally looked at her directly. The Convergence games aren't just about skill, you Radiants. They're about will. Queen Sherix has killed over 200 opponents in ritual combat. She survived assassination attempts, civil wars, and diplomatic poisonings. She doesn't just fight. She projects absolute certainty that she'll win. That psychological weight breaks most opponents before the first blow lands. Then I need to project the same certainty. No. Thane's contradiction surprised her. You need to project something she won't expect. Humanity is new to the Galactic Council. We're the species that came from nowhere, built an empire in 3 generations, and forced our way into galactic politics through sheer technological achievement. But we're still seen as soft, civilized. More diplomats than warriors. You're saying I should use that perception as a weapon. I'm saying you should understand what you represent. When you enter that arena, you're not just Princess Vera. You're humanity's declaration that we belong among warrior species. That our relatively short history of spacefaring doesn't mean we lack the spine to face ancient empires. Then teach me to prove it. The training hall doors opened. A young aide entered, moving with the careful precision of someone interrupting something important. Commander Thane, Princess Vera, forgive the intrusion. The Empress requests your immediate presence in the Strategic Council chamber. The Empress rarely interrupted training sessions. Did she specify why? Vera asked. Only that it concerns the Convergence games and requires urgent discussion. They found Empress Kaida studying the holographic display of Zenthar Station, her expression carved from ice and calculation. 3 military advisors stood nearby, their body language suggesting an argument recently concluded. The Empress gestured for the doors to close as Thane and Vera entered. Mother, what's wrong? The Kethrin Hive has made a formal request. Kaida manipulated the hologram, expanding a section showing the arena of trials. Queen Sherix has invoked the right of personal challenge. She wants to face you directly, Vera. Single combat, no teammates, no advantages. First blood or surrender. The room temperature seemed to drop. That violates Convergence protocols, Thane said. The games are team competitions with individual events. Personal challenges aren't part of the structure. They are if both parties invoke ancient rights preserved in the Convergence Charter. Kaida's voice carried the weight of someone who'd spent hours arguing this exact point. Sherix claims humanity has shown disrespect by sending royal representatives without proper warrior credentials. She considers your participation an insult to martial tradition, Vera. She wants to correct that insult personally. It's a trap, one of the advisors said. The Kethrins want to humiliate us publicly. If Princess Vera loses, humanity looks weak. If she refuses, we look cowardly. And if I win? Vera asked. You won't, the advisor said bluntly. No offense, Your Radiance, but Queen Sherix has 40 years of combat experience. She's larger, stronger, and has biological advantages we can't match. Her exoskeleton alone provides protection equivalent to military armor. She's also overconfident, Thane said quietly. Everyone turned to him. Queen Sherix has ruled through combat for decades. She's fought hundreds of battles and won them all. That creates patterns, assumptions. She'll expect certain tactics based on her previous victories. And you think 3 weeks of training prepares the princess to exploit those patterns? The advisor's skepticism was palpable. No. The 3 weeks of training means Vera knows she's unprepared. That awareness creates adaptability. Sherix will expect either submission or traditional combat. We give her neither. Kaida studied her daughter in the commander. Explain. The Kthran biology favors power and defense, Thane said, manipulating the hologram to show previous recordings of Sherix in combat. Watch her footwork. She plants firmly because her exoskeleton makes her nearly immovable. She uses that stability to deliver devastating strikes. But stability requires predictable positioning. She controls space through intimidation and superior strength, not through mobility. How does that help Vera?
Humans are weaker than Kethrins.
We're also faster, more flexible, and better at creative problem solving. We don't win by matching their strengths. We win by forcing them to fight our kind of battle. Thane turned to Vera. How many strikes did you land on me today? 12. How many should have killed me if they'd been real attacks? Vera considered. None. 4 of them targeted joints in my armor. If you'd committed fully instead of pulling back, those strikes would have caused serious damage. You still fight like you're trying not to hurt me, 'cause you're my instructor, and Shyrix will be your enemy. Thane's voice hardened. That distinction requires a fundamental shift in psychology. You need to want to hurt her, not in anger, but with the cold certainty that her pain equals your survival. The Empress watched this exchange carefully. Commander, do you believe my daughter can defeat Queen Shyrix? I believe she has a chance if she stops fighting like a princess and starts fighting like someone with everything to lose. Thane faced the Empress directly. But this decision can't be mine or yours, Your Majesty. It has to be hers. All eyes turned to Vera. She stood silent for a long moment, processing what accepting this challenge truly meant. Not just personal combat, but representing humanity's place among species who'd conquered galaxies while humans were still discovering fire. She thought about every bruise Thane had given her, every lesson learned through pain and exhaustion. She thought about the reports from Kathos, about a human warrior who'd refused to break when everything said he should. I accept Queen Shyrix's challenge, Vera said. But I want one condition added to the terms. What condition? Kaida asked. No regeneration fields during combat? First blood means actual blood, not energy shields or technological healing. If this is about proving warrior credentials, then we prove them with flesh and bone. The advisors looked shocked. Your Radiance, that puts you at severe disadvantage. Catherine physiology is far more durable than human biology. Yuens. It also means Shyrix has more to lose. Vira's smile was sharp. Let's see how confident she feels when her perfect record faces genuine stakes. Very well, Empress Kaida said. I'll transmit the acceptance with your condition. The Convergence Council will formalize the challenge within 48 hours. She looked at Thane. Commander, you have 3 weeks to finish her training. Make them count. Your Majesty. Thani bowed and turned to Vera. Training resumes in 6 hours. Get medical treatment and rest. You'll need both. As they left the council chamber, Vera felt something she hadn't experienced before in all her combat training. Not fear, though fear certainly existed in the tight coil of her stomach. Not excitement, though adrenaline sang in her veins. Purpose. For the first time, the gap between who she was and who she needed to become felt crossable. Difficult, painful, probably scarring, but crossable. At Kathos, during those final hours, what kept you fighting when logic said you should surrender? Stubbornness, mostly. The crawlers had taken everything else from my garrison. I refused to give them victory, too. He paused at an intersection, but also something simpler. I'd made promises to those soldiers, promises that I'd get them home. When they died, those promises transferred to making sure their deaths meant something. Spite and grief make powerful motivators. I won't let humanity down. Good, but don't fight for humanity. Thane's advice surprised her. Fight for yourself. Fight because you refuse to lose. National pride is an abstract concept. Survival is personal. When you're in that arena, and Shyrix comes at you with everything she has, abstract concepts won't keep you standing. Only your refusal to fall will matter. Vera absorbed that wisdom as they reached her quarters. 6 hours, Thon reminded her. Then we start teaching you how to make a legend bleed. He walked away, leaving Vera with 3 weeks to become someone she'd never been before. 3 weeks to transform from princess to warrior. 3 weeks to prove humanity belonged among the stars. The countdown had begun, and there would be no second chances. Zentar Station hung in the void like a massive jewel, its crystalline architecture catching light from 3 nearby suns and refracting it into patterns that had inspired religions among less technologically advanced species. The Convergence Games transformed the station into a carnival of cultures. 40 species gathering to compete, trade, and remind each other that politics need not always end in war. Vera barely noticed the spectacle. She stood in the human delegation's preparation chamber, wrapped in adaptive combat armor that responded to movement like liquid metal. The armor was humanity's latest design, combining protective capability with unrestricted mobility. Thane had insisted on it after watching footage of previous Convergence combats. Technology couldn't replace skill, but it could eliminate disadvantages. Neuralink active, a technician reported. Armor responding to your biorhythms normally. Vera flexed her hands, feeling the armor move with her like a second skin. How long until the challenge? 90 minutes, Thane said, entering the chamber. He carried a weapon case marked with military codes. The Council formalized the rules an hour ago. Single combat, first blood or surrender, no outside interference. They've also agreed to your condition about regeneration fields. How did Sherix react? She laughed. Apparently she found your confidence amusing? Thane opened the case, revealing a weapon unlike anything Vera had trained with. It resembled a staff, but its surface rippled with contained energy. This is a resonance blade. It vibrates at frequencies that can disrupt Kethron exoskeleton structures. It won't cut through her armor easily, but it'll make her defenses less effective. I thought we were fighting without technological advantages. We're fighting smart. The rules prohibit regeneration fields and energy shields. They say nothing about weapon selection. Thane handed her the blade. The Kethrons have biological advantages we can't match. This evens the equation slightly. Vera activated the weapon, feeling it hum in her grip. The balance was perfect, the weight distributed exactly how her training had conditioned her to expect. You knew about this weapon before I accepted the challenge. I knew humanity would face Kethron warriors eventually. I prepared accordingly. Thane checked her armor's connection points. How do you feel? Terrified. Ready. Both simultaneously. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. Overconfidence gets you killed. He stepped back, examining her, with the critical eye of someone who'd spent 3 weeks breaking and rebuilding her combat instincts. You've improved dramatically, Your Radiance. Your tactical thinking is sound. Your reaction time is excellent. But you need to understand something before you enter that arena. What? She'll posture, threaten, demonstrate her size and strength. Most opponents break at that moment. They see her and realize they're facing something genuinely dangerous. Their courage fails.
I won't break.
You might. Breaking isn't weakness, it's biology. The human brain recognizes superior predators and triggers survival responses. Thane's voice softened slightly. If that happens, if you feel the fear rising and your body wants to flee, remember why you're standing there. Not for the Empire. Not for humanity. For yourself. Because you chose this. Because you refuse to let fear make your decisions. The door opened. Empress Kaida entered, flanked by diplomatic staff and security. She dismissed them with a gesture, wanting a private moment with her daughter. You look like a warrior, Kaida said, studying Vera's armor and weapon. I feel like someone pretending to be one. Imposter syndrome is normal before significant challenges. It means you understand the stakes. Kaida moved closer, and for a moment the Empress disappeared, replaced by a mother facing her daughter's potential death. I could still invoke diplomatic immunity, withdraw you from the challenge. The political consequences would be severe, but survivable. I'm not withdrawing. I know. You're too much like me. Kaida touched Vera's cheek, a rare display of physical affection. When I was younger than you, I fought in the Titan rebellions. Real combat, not ritual games. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite fear, because something matters more than safety. What mattered more for you? Building something worth protecting. An empire where humans determine their own fate among the stars. Kaida's hand dropped. Now you carry that legacy into an arena against a warrior who's forgotten what losing feels like. Make her remember, Vera. Show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just belong in the council chambers. We belong in the arena too. They embraced briefly, then Kaida left, taking her maternal concern with her and leaving only the Empress's expectations behind. Thane checked his tactical display. 60 minutes. We should move to the arena access corridors. The walk through Zenthar Station felt surreal. Species from across the galaxy paused to watch the human princess and her commander pass. Some looked curious. Others skeptical. A few showed open hostility. Humanity's rapid rise to galactic prominence had created resentment among older civilizations who remembered earning their power through millennia of struggle. They reached the arena access level where competitors prepared for their events. Kethron warriors occupied one section, their arthropod bodies imposing even in rest. They watched Vera with compound eyes that revealed nothing human psychology could interpret. Then Queen Sherix emerged from the Kethron preparation area. She stood 3 meters tall, her exoskeleton plated with ceremonial armor that bore the scars of 100 victories. 4 arms, each ending in razor-sharp manipulators that could tear through hull plating. Her movements combined grace and power in ways that seemed to defy physics. Behind her, Kethron warriors clicked mandibles in a rhythm that sounded like approval or anticipation. Shyrix approached slowly, deliberately, letting Vera feel the size difference. When she spoke, her voice resonated through translation devices embedded in the arena infrastructure. "The small princess comes to play warrior." How charming. "Queen Shyrix, I appreciate you accepting my challenge conditions. I accept because they change nothing. Your blood will spill regardless of technological assistance." Shyrix leaned down, bringing her massive head level with Vera's. "I have killed warriors from 17 species, child. Fighters who train their entire lives for combat. What makes you believe 3 weeks of practice prepares you to face me?" "I don't believe I'm prepared," Vera said calmly. "I believe I'm committed. The distinction matters." Shyrix's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Bravery without skill is just elaborate suicide. Your empress should have protected you from your own pride." "Does yours—" The clicking stopped. Several Kethran warriors shifted, responding to what might have been insult or simple truth. Shyrix straightened to her full height. "I will enjoy teaching you humility, princess. Perhaps I will only wound you severely instead of killing you, a mercy in honor of your naivete." "Perhaps I'll surprise you," Vera replied. "Humans are good at that." Shyrix turned away. "The arena awaits. Do not keep destiny waiting." As the Kethran queen departed, Vera felt her hand shaking. She'd maintained composure through the confrontation, but her body recognized the threat level even if her mind refused to acknowledge it. "You did well," Thane said quietly. "She expected you to show fear or anger. You gave her neither. I gave her false confidence. Let her think I'm delusional." "That's better." Thane guided her toward the human preparation chamber. She's fought hundreds of opponents. They all followed predictable patterns, either submission or traditional warrior aggression. You're offering something she hasn't encountered before. Calm acceptance combined with clear intent. She doesn't know how to read it, which means she can't prepare for it. What if I can't deliver on that intent? Then you lose and we face political consequences. But you won't be the first human to fail at something difficult. Thane's bluntness was oddly comforting. Failure is survivable, Vera. Regret from not trying is permanent. A chime echoed through the access corridors. The challenge would begin in 30 minutes. Vera activated her resonance blade, feeling its frequency hum against her palms. She ran through combat sequences in her mind. Footwork patterns, strike combinations, defensive transitions. 3 weeks of brutal training compressed into muscle memory that might keep her alive. Around her, the station buzzed with anticipation. Diplomatic delegations moved toward viewing platforms. Betting pools processed final wagers. Media drones positioned themselves for optimal coverage. The Convergence Games had hosted many battles, but royal combat challenges were rare enough to draw universal attention. Vera closed her eyes and breathed deeply, centering herself the way Thana had taught her. Fear existed, but it couldn't control her. Pain would come, but it couldn't stop her. Shyrix was larger, stronger, more experienced, but she wasn't invincible. Everyone bled eventually. Even legends. The chime sounded again.
15 minutes. Thon handed her a small comm device.
"I'll be in the command observation deck. I can't interfere once combat starts, but I can watch. Remember your training. Don't try to match her strength. Use mobility, target joints, make her chase you. Exhaustion is a weapon too." "Anything else?" "Yes." Ton's expression softened slightly. "You've become a better warrior in 3 weeks than most achieve in years. Whatever happens in that arena, you've already proven you belong there. Don't let the outcome define the journey."
Vera nodded, not trusting her voice. The final chime echoed.
Time had run out. She walked toward the arena entrance, her resonance blade humming, her armor responsive, her heart steady despite the terror and determination warring in her chest. Somewhere above, 40 species watched and waited. Somewhere in the crowd, her mother held political composure while maternal fear threatened to overwhelm it. Somewhere in the Kethran section, Queen Shyrix prepared to defend her perfect record against an opponent she'd already dismissed. The arena doors opened, revealing a circular combat space surrounded by observation platforms rising into the station's heights. Energy barriers prevented outside interference while allowing perfect visibility. The floor was neutral terrain, flat, featureless, offering no advantages. Vera stepped into the light, and the galaxy held its breath. The arena roared as Vera entered, 40 species creating a cacophony of sounds that human ears struggled to process. She walked to the center circle, her boots clicking against the metallic floor, and turned to face the Kethron entrance. Sherix emerged moments later to thunderous approval from her delegation, each step deliberate and powerful. The queen carried no weapon. She didn't need one. An arbiter, a crystalline being from a species renowned for absolute neutrality, materialized between them via holographic projection. Its voice resonated with authority that transcended translation. The challenge is recognized. Princess Vera of the Human Empire versus Queen Sherix of the Kethron Hive. Single combat, first blood or surrender, no regeneration permitted. Do both combatants accept these terms? Accepted, Vera said. Accepted? Sherix clicked. Then let the challenge commence. The arbiter vanished. For 3 seconds, neither combatant moved. Sherix studied Vera with alien intelligence, evaluating threats and calculating approaches. Vera held her ground, blade ready, breathing steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. Then Sherix charged. The Kethron queen crossed 20 meters in seconds, her forearms spreading wide to grab, crush, tear. Vera rolled right, using the mobility Thane had drilled into her, letting Sherix's momentum carry her past. The resonance blade lashed out, striking the queen's rear left leg joint. The impact sent vibrations through Kethron armor, disrupting molecular cohesion. Sherix stumbled slightly, barely noticeable, but enough to confirm the weapon worked as designed. The queen spun faster than something that size should move. Her right claw swept horizontally, forcing Vera to duck. The left claw followed immediately, a combination that would have caught most opponents. Vera dropped and rolled backward, blade deflecting the second strike. The crowd noise intensified. They had expected quick domination. Instead, the human princess had survived the opening exchange. Sherix adjusted her tactics. Instead of charging, she advanced methodically, using her size to control space. Her forearms created a defensive perimeter that was difficult to penetrate. Each step forward forced Vera to give ground or commit to risky attacks. Vera circled left, looking for openings. Thane's voice echoed in her memory. Don't fight her battle. Make her fight yours. She feinted right, then spun left, blade striking Sherix's lower arm. The resonance frequency disrupted the joint momentarily. Sherix's mandibles clicked irritation, and she pressed forward harder, using sheer size to overwhelm Vera's mobility advantage. A claw caught Vera's shoulder, tearing through armor and drawing first blood. The crowd erupted. By convergence rules, the challenge was over. Except Vera didn't stop fighting. She drove her blade into the arm that had wounded her, targeting the elbow joint, sending maximum resonance through Kethron biology. Sherix roared, a sound that made species across the arena flinch, and backhanded Vera with her upper right arm. The impact sent Vera flying. She hit the arena floor hard, armor absorbing most of the damage but not all of it. Her ribs screamed. Blood ran down her shoulder. The resonance blade skittered across the floor, out of reach. Sherix advanced, mandibles clicking triumph. The challenge is mine, princess. Your blood has been spilled. Vera pushed to her knees, gasping for air. The arbiter would materialize any moment to declare Sherix victorious. The humans in the crowd looked devastated. The Empress's face was carved stone. Thane watched with an expression Vera couldn't read from this distance. She thought about Kathos, about a human warrior who'd fought with broken weapons and empty magazines. About survival requiring transformation into something harder. No surrender, Vera said, forcing herself to stand. Sherix tilted her head. You have lost. Accept defeat with dignity. I accept nothing. Vera stumbled toward her fallen blade, each step agony. You wanted to test humanity's warrior credentials? So test them. I'm still standing. The arbiter manifested. First blood has been drawn. The challenge is concluded. I don't surrender, Vera insisted. She reached her blade and activated it, the resonance frequency steady despite her shaking hands. The rules allow first blood or surrender. I choose neither. This wasn't how convergence challenges worked. First blood meant immediate victory, unless the loser refused to acknowledge it. Sherix's compound eyes fixed on Vera with new attention. Not contempt, not dismissal. Something closer to recognition. You continue fighting while wounded? The queen asked. I continue fighting because I'm wounded. Stopping now makes the pain meaningless. Vera raised her blade despite her body's protests. You wanted to teach me humility, Queen Sherix? Instead, let me teach you something about humans. We don't know when to quit. We fight impossible battles and win them through stubbornness. We face extinction-level threats and survive through refusing to die. You've conquered 60 systems. We've built an empire in 3 generations. We got here by not knowing when we were beaten. Sherrick stood motionless, processing this declaration. Then her mandibles clicked in a pattern that might have been respect. The Arbiter has declared my victory, she said carefully. The Arbiter declared first blood. Not surrender, not submission. Vera's voice strengthened. If you want my surrender, Queen Sherrix, you'll have to earn it. Because humans don't give up just because we're bleeding. The arena had gone silent. This moment transcended simple combat, becoming something diplomatic, symbolic, and deeply personal simultaneously. Sherrix looked at the Arbiter. Can she continue? The crystalline being consulted protocols that predated most species present. The rules specify first blood or surrender. First blood has occurred. Surrender has not. The challenge party may continue if she wishes, though victory has already been awarded. Then I continue, Vera said. Sherrix's mandibles clicked rapidly, laughter or disbelief. You realize I will injure you further. I will not hold back out of mercy. I'm demanding you fight me like you'd fight any warrior who refuses to quit. The Kethron Queen stood silent for a long moment. Then she raised all 4 arms into combat position. Very well, small princess. You want to learn what happens when legends stop playing gently? I will teach you. She attacked with fury that made her previous assault look cautious. All 4 arms struck in coordinated patterns that eliminated defensive options. Vera could only dodge, retreat, desperately avoid the crushing power aimed at her. Each near miss came within centimeters. Each successful deflection jarred her wounded shoulder, but she didn't fall. She thought about every lesson Thane had beaten into her, every bruise earned in training, every time she'd wanted to quit and kept going anyway. She thought about Kathos and soldiers who died still fighting. She thought about humanity's impossible journey from one planet to galactic power, and she stopped retreating. When Shyrick's next combination came, Vera stepped into it instead of away, blade striking the Queen's center mass. The resonance disrupted armor plating across Shyrick's chest. The Queen stumbled, genuinely surprised. Vera pressed the advantage, striking joints with precision born from thousands of repetitions. Her shoulder screamed, her ribs burned, her body demanded rest. She gave it fury instead. The blade found Sherrix's upper left arm joint, and the limb went partially limp. Found the right leg, and the Queen's stance weakened. Found the mandibles and drew blood. The crowd exploded into chaos. Shyrick stood frozen, green blood leaking from her mandible. By the rules Vera had just ignored, the battle should end. By the precedent Vera had just set, it continued. The Queen's compound eyes fixed on the human princess, who should have been broken, who should have surrendered, who instead stood bleeding and defiant. Then Shyrick did something no one expected. She laughed. Not clicking mandibles, but actual laughter that the translation devices struggled to convey. Deep, genuine amusement mixed with something that might have been admiration. You are insane, Sherrick said. Wonderfully, magnificently insane. I'm human, Vera replied, swaying slightly. We specialize in it. Sherrick lowered her arms, combat posture dissolving. I have fought for 40 years. I have killed warriors from 17 species. I have defended my throne against challengers who trained their entire lives to defeat me. She touched the blood on her mandible, examining it curiously. And now a princess who has trained for 3 weeks makes me bleed by refusing to accept reality. Reality is negotiable, Vera said. Humans prove that constantly. The Kethran Queen stood silent, then turned to face the crowd. Her voice boomed across the arena. I, Queen Sherrix of the Kethran Hive, declare this challenge concluded. The human princess has demonstrated warrior credentials beyond question. She has earned blood, respect, and recognition. The Arbiter manifested again? Both combatants have shed blood. Do either surrender? I surrender nothing, Vera said immediately. Shyrick's mandibles clicked amusement. Nor do I. Then this challenge is declared a mutual draw. Both parties have proven their worth. The Convergence Council recognizes this outcome as honorable resolution. The Arbiter vanished, leaving Vera and Sherrix facing each other across blood-stained arena floor. You fought well, small princess, Sherrick said. Insanely, but well. I learned much. Then learn one more lesson. The Queen approached, lowering herself to Vera's height. Power alone does not make a warrior. Size alone does not ensure victory. I am larger, stronger, more experienced. But you possess something I had forgotten existed. The absolute refusal to accept defeat. That quality wins battles that strength and skill cannot. Shirix extended one massive claw. After a moment, Vera gripped it, their bloods mingling in the ancient gesture of warriors recognizing mutual worth. The arena erupted into applause from 40 species who'd just witnessed something unprecedented. Medical teams rushed forward as Vera's legs finally gave out. Shirix caught her before she hit the ground, holding the human princess with surprising gentleness. Rest now, small warrior. You have earned it. Consciousness faded, but Vera's last thought before darkness took her was satisfaction. She'd stepped into an arena against a living legend and refused to break. She'd proven humanity belonged among warrior species. And she'd made a queen bleed. Vera woke in the medical wing 3 days later. Advanced healing technology had repaired her shoulder and ribs, but doctors insisted on monitored rest. She lay in bed, reviewing diplomatic reports on her tablet, when Thane entered carrying formal notifications. "You're famous," he said without preamble. "The challenge has been analyzed by 40 species. Military academies are studying your tactics. Diplomatic corps are negotiating trade agreements based on newfound respect for human resolve. I didn't win. In Convergence history, mutual draws are rarer than outright victories. They require both combatants to demonstrate equivalent worth despite different capabilities." Thane set the notifications on her bedside table. "You achieved something most warriors never accomplish. You forced a legend to acknowledge you as an equal. By being too stubborn to quit. By understanding that victory has many definitions. You entered that arena representing humanity. The goal wasn't defeating Shirix. The goal was proving we belong among warrior species. You succeeded." Vera set her tablet aside. "Did I fight well? Tactically, I mean?"
Without the symbolism and politics?
"You made mistakes. Overcommitted on several exchanges. Let emotion drive attacks that should have been calculated. Took unnecessary risks. But you adapted under pressure. Used your advantages effectively. Most importantly, you recognized when conventional victory was impossible and redefined success on terms that favored you. That's strategic thinking beyond tactics. I learned from my instructor. We learned from your own stubbornness. I just gave you tools to channel it productively." Tane moved to the window overlooking Zenthar Station's gardens. "The Empress wants to see you when doctors permit visitors. She has questions about future Convergence participation. She wants me to compete in team events. She wants you to lead the human delegation. Your draw with Shirix has changed perceptions. Other species are requesting training exchanges, cultural discussions, diplomatic meetings. Humanity's reputation as soft civilizers is gone. We're now seen as determined warriors who fight with different methods." "Mission accomplished, then." "Not quite." Thani turned from the window. "Queen Shirix requested a private meeting with you before she returns to Kethron space. She's waiting in the diplomatic suite. Now, if you're able. The doctors cleared you for limited activity." Vera dressed carefully, her healing shoulder protesting movement. She found Shirix in a chamber designed for multi-species interaction, the Kethran queen occupying a section scaled for her massive frame. "Small princess," Shirix greeted, "you recover quickly. Human resilience. We're hard to keep down." "I am learning this." Shirix gestured to a seat designed for human proportions. "I came to apologize." "For what?" "For underestimating you. For assuming your participation in the games was political theater rather than genuine martial intent. For treating your challenge as amusement rather than worthy combat." Shirix's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "I have been undefeated for so long that I forgot what real competition feels like. You reminded me. You still would have won if I'd accepted first blood." "Perhaps. But you demonstrated something more valuable than victory. You showed me that humans possess warrior spirit equivalent to species who have fought for millennia. That your rapid rise to galactic prominence wasn't luck or technology, but fundamental determination that refuses to accept limitations," Vera said. "It's basically our entire history. Then I look forward to seeing what impossible achievements you accomplish next." Shirix produced a small object from her diplomatic pouch. "This is a Kethron honor blade, traditionally given to warriors who have earned blood right recognition. I want you to have it." The blade was beautiful. its edge sharp enough to split molecules, its handle carved from chitin that had belonged to Shyrix's ancestors. Accepting it meant accepting a bond that transcended species and politics. Vera took the blade carefully. I'm honored, Queen Shyrix. As am I, Princess Vera. You taught this old warrior that legends can still learn new lessons. Shyrix stood, preparing to leave. I hope we meet again, preferably in circumstances that don't require one of us to bleed. I'd like that. After Shyrix departed, Vera sat holding the honor blade, processing everything that had happened. She'd entered an arena expecting to fight for humanity's reputation. She'd emerged with something more valuable, genuine respect from a warrior culture that measured worth through combat. The door opened again. Empress Kaida entered, diplomacy abandoned in favor of maternal relief. My daughter the legend, she said, embracing Vera carefully. You terrified me. I terrified myself, Vera admitted. But it worked. Better than worked. The Galactic Council has extended full recognition to our martial traditions. 3 species requested treaty negotiations based on newfound respect for human capabilities. The Convergence Games Committee wants to feature our delegation in next year's opening ceremonies. So, politics accomplished? You've changed how humanity is perceived among the stars. We're no longer the upstart species playing at civilization. We're warriors who fight with determination and innovation. Kaida held her daughter at arm's length, studying her. How do you feel? Sore, proud, confused about what happens next. What happens next is recovery, then decisions about your future role. You've proven yourself in the arena. Now comes the harder challenge, proving yourself in the long-term work of building alliances and maintaining peace. Kaida smiled, though perhaps we'll include more combat training in your diplomatic education. Thane might have thoughts about that. Thane has been promoted to Director of Special Operations. If you want continued training, you'll have it. If you want a different path, that's available too. You've earned choices, Vera. After her mother left, Vera returned to her quarters and found Thane waiting with reports and training schedules. Already planning my next impossible challenge? She asked. Just providing options. The choice is yours. Thane set the materials on her desk. But I should tell you something before you decide. What? At Kathos, during those final hours, I fought because I'd made promises to soldiers who died. I carried their memory forward and refused to let their sacrifice be meaningless. Thane's expression remained neutral, but his voice carried weight. Watching you fight Shyrix, refusing to surrender despite injury and impossible odds, I understood something I'd forgotten. Stubbornness isn't just survival instinct. It's the core of human identity. We don't quit because quitting means accepting that we're not good enough, strong enough, worthy enough, and humans refuse to accept limitations. Is this the part where you tell me I'm ready to stop training? This is the part where I tell you the training never stops. You'll always face larger opponents, impossible situations, challenges that should break you, but now you know you can survive them. Not by being strongest or fastest, but by being too stubborn to quit. That knowledge changes everything. Vera stood alone in her quarters, holding the Kethran honor blade, surrounded by reports about diplomatic opportunities and training schedules. 3 weeks ago she'd been a princess playing at warrior skills. Now she was a legend who'd made another legend bleed. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and humanity had proven it belonged among the stars. Not through conquest or technology alone, but through sheer magnificent refusal to accept defeat. Vera activated her tactical display and began reviewing next year's Convergence Games schedule. She had training to plan, skills to master, and legends to challenge, because humans specialized in impossible achievements, and she was just getting started.